So far, you guys have learned 4 methods to solve these things, and all 4 methods are on the board. Today is a day to kind of explore what method works best for you and what method works best for the certain problem you're given. Uh, Not every single problem will be able to use your favorite method. For instance, I love factoring, but you can't factor every problem. So you need to start sorting through those other 3 and figuring out which one is best to use when. The first method you learned is factoring. Go ahead and fill in those 4 that are on the board. The second method we learned was taking the square root. We haven't done that for a while. We'll look at one example before we head off. The third method was, excuse me, something. What was that? Completing the square. And the fourth method is the big quadratic formula. For these 2 examples, I give you 2 options. I want you to turn and talk with your partner. Decide on one that you would like to do, Porter, Kieran, Hands. After you decide on that one, try to use it, and if you get the right answer as your partner, you probably chose a method that works. If you choose a method that doesn't work, slide over to the next one. Example 1, would you solve this with factoring or quadratic formula? Turn and talk to your partner and choose. Check in with Maddie. No, Sarah. Can you move up to Mackenzie? Can you? Because you're gonna need a team. No, because you're gonna need a team in like 5 minutes. And most of us solved it. Cool. 3, 2, 1. If you decided to factor, give me a 1. If you're trying to solve quadratic currently, give me a 2. Hands up and hands down. Colby, you factored this thing. What 2 factors do you get? Great. And because it equals 0, we're going to use the 0 product property, and x would equal -6 and -1. Because it was that simple to factor, I'm not going to use quadratic for this one. It was factorable. We can cross that option out, and factoring is the best choice for this. The best method would be factoring, and here's your reason. Because both we could just say it's quicker. It's quicker, and it's factorable. Not every trinomial will be factorable. Sometimes you cannot use that method. Look at example 2. And up here, I'm going to put quadratic or completing the square. Turn and talk to your partner. Try to factor it. If you can't factor it, you can choose with your partner quadratic or completing the square. Take 3 minutes to get started on this one. Turn and talk to your partner. Check in with each other. Hearing a few conversations that factoring, unfortunately, cannot work. You can't get to 18 and add to -10. So if you're trying to factor it, relook at your numbers, you're going to probably go with these methods. Minus 18. Quick check-in. If you're using the quadratic, give me a 1 with your partner. If you're completing the square, give me a 2. I want to see where the majority is. Quadratic 1, completing square 2. Awesome. We have a few 2s. Most of us are heading to 1, so put your hands down. I'm going to put quadratic on the board while you're working to check our steps. If you're completing the square, though, keep doing that. It will work. If you're using it correctly, we'll compare the answers. If you're a little stuck, check the boards. What is 4 times 18?
64.
Okay, 100 minus 64. Cool. $36 works. Is that 36, Sunny? Where am I at? What's 72? Is it 72? Okay. 4 times 18 is 72. Bummer. That's going to not be a perfect square. Oh. That's 100 minus 72. 28? Darn. Okay. Root 28 is not a perfect square. You could simplify it, but we're not going to. Yeah,
I got the answer, guys.
Yeah.
I got x equals 5 plus or minus root 7. Tyler, what'd you get?
Yeah.
I got x equals negative.
Where'd you get
5
root
plus or
7
minus
from?
7. Oh, okay, so I did completing the square root 7. No, it's not. And well, that's what mine got. X minus 10x plus 8. And I subtracted 18.
Yeah.
I'll take that. So that's the right answer.
Yep. Alright, track the board. If you use quadratic, you're probably ending up with these first two options. You can simplify the 28 because root 28 is really 4 times 7. The square root of 4 is 2. Because 28 is 4 times 7, the square root of 4 is 2. So another way of writing this, quadratic is going to leave you with root 28, but you can also put 2 root 7 here. Because you have 2 root 7, you can cancel the 2 with the 10 and the other 2, and you get 5 plus or minus root 7. You don't have to. If you solve for the quadratic today, I'm okay with you leaving it like this. This is the correct answer still because I haven't shown you how to simplify square roots. But each method may give you a little different answer, but they're the same. It should not be negative 5 because 10 divided by 2 is 5. 10, a negative 10 was a.
I have a positive 5 on the left and I'm subtracting 5 from both sides. So I got x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 7.
Okay, our signs are off somewhere, so I'll have to check that. Okay, last two that I want you to look at. Stop and jot. What method would you use? I don't want you to solve these. I just want you to think about it and then turn. We'll talk about number 2. Don't chat with your partner for now. Take just like 30 seconds to a minute to write down the method. I want to factor this, but 7 times 1 is 7. I can't get to 4, so let's choose. I like the quadratic. Number 2, I'm going to go through that, and it looks like there's a square root, so I'm going to take Or I'll let you decide that actually. Uh, 10 more seconds. After a break. Okay. Stay on this page. I'm going to chat about number 2. Go ahead. On number 4, I'm choosing the method number 4, quadratic. If you chose completing the square, give me a 3. If you chose quadratic, give me a 4. If you tried to take the square root, you could give me a 2. Give me a 3 or a 4. What did you choose? Cool, cool, cool. Hands down. Most of us are kind of leaning towards quadratic, but completing the square works. It's just up to you and getting a feel for where you're at comfortability-wise with each of these steps. So both of those would work. I could not factor this one, and I can't take the square root. For number 2, give me a 1, 2, 3, or 4. What would you use? 1 for factoring, 2, take the square root, 3, complete the square, 4, quadratic. And hands down. Most of us decided to complete the square. A few of us, I think, were aiming towards 3 and 4 because we just kind of forgot. Let's refresh what completing the square looks like. Write this step for number 2. Take the square root is what I meant. So if you chose to take the square root, that's number 2. Most of us went with that. If you see a binomial squared and a perfect square, that's a clue that they probably are meaning this one to take the square root. It's the quickest and easiest way out. Otherwise, you have to like unfactor all of that, move the 64, and it can be a mess. It's possible, it's just a lot more steps. If you take the square root from this left side, you're going to get x minus 9 equals plus or minus 8. Then you're left with 2 pretty simple equations to solve for the answer. X minus 9 equals 8 and x minus 9 equals negative 8. X would equal 17 and x would equal 1. Question? I did that really quickly. Yeah.
Like, what if, can you take the square root of, like, if it's a number that isn't square rootable?
You can.
It gives you, like, a decimal.
Yeah, you can. So let's say it was this.
I don't dare.
Like 71.
I don't do it.
That?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. Uh-huh.
How come on the 64 when you throw that and plus or minus 8 you got an x and 9 minus 9?
Oh my god.
Because it's a squared here. Because it's x minus 9, x minus 9, the binomial is x minus 9 and x minus 9. That's what they're telling you it is. If it's a binomial, you can't have like a positive in front of the binomial and a negative in front. It's just that.
Wait, what would you do if it's not square rootable?
Just leave it as root 72 or root 71.
So remember when you were saying that there we were always
Voice off 3, 2, 1. Here's the situation. You have 25 minutes. You're going to start. Number 1, 2, and 3 are level 1. I don't have those up here because what happens is I say go and everyone runs up to take number 1 and it's kind of a mess. So you're going to start number 1 by flipping don't look yet, but it's on the very end below all of your boxes to do work. Number 1, 2, and 3 are down here. You're going to go back down, look at number 1, and write it in box number 1, Elliot. Once you and your partner are done with 1, 2, and 3, it's similar to Math Amazing Race where you'll come up and check your answer. If you get it wrong, I'm going to give you 1 penalty, and you're going to take the penalty back to your desk, put it in the penalty box, no pun intended, like hockey, get it? Okay. And then you're going to show me the penalty, show me your corrected answer, and then move on to level number 2. Once you're done with level 2, all 4 problems, if you finish, stop. Check the answers again. If you get a penalty, complete that, and then go on to the final level, which is a word problem. Elliot, Andrew, you got it? Okay. Where do I look for numbers 1, 2, and 3? in the very back of your packet. When I'm finished with 1, 2, and 3, what do I do next? Porter. When I finish 1, 2, and 3, what do I do next? I get it checked. I look at the answers on my own. I can come up and look. If I am incorrect, I get a penalty, and I correct my answer. Pencil up or pencil down, actually. Just drop your pencil. You should not be writing. Elliot. Okay. The point of this is not to go quick and like get first place and not know how to do it, or have my partner do all the work and I'm just copying him and not knowing how to do it. The point of today is to slow down and collaborate with each other. Speed is okay, and like it's great that you finished a lot, but I want you to actually understand these. You can choose any method that you want. You and your partner should probably agree on one before moving on so that you have similar steps to check. If you disagree, you could try to go that route. It just might be a little trickier if you get an incorrect answer to go back and check all your answers with different methods. That was that. If you get to level 2, they're magnetized and there's a stack, so just be careful that you pick up the stack and then take one and put it back, and they're not just like exploding everywhere. Just be careful because they could drop and you'd have to pick them up and waste time. I think that's it. Everyone has a partner. You're gonna team up with a team of 2. You might need to slide your desk over. Okay, pencil up. You're starting together. Everyone's on number 1. Then you're going on to number 2. Oh, I forgot. Wait.
On the beach rock.
Go. All right. That's too distracting.
That's like not. Can you play a Christmas music?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Maybe. 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, do we have to complete 1, 2, and 3 before we go?
Yeah. So finish the levels. Finish all the levels. 1, 2, and 3, and then level 2. Yeah. And then I'm gonna put the answers.
What are you gonna do?